Welcome to the next lecture, ninth lecture of the first chapter of our comprehensive data science, machine learning, and AI course. In previous three lectures, we have seen how to install Python and Jupyter Notebook on Windows, Ubuntu, and Mac operating systems. Now here we are seeing how to install integrated development environment or IDEs. As such, Jupyter Notebook is fine, and for majority part of the course, initially at least, Jupyter Notebook works well. But when you want to develop modular code, I will show by one example what I mean by modular code. So at that moment, you need some IDE, integrated development environment. Now, what are three IDEs which I suggest? One, PyCharm; second, VSCODE; and third, Jupyter Lab. All three are freely available. With PyCharm, there are two versions. One is community version and another is professional version. Professional version is very costly, pretty costly, I would say. So if you want to use that, it's fine. But as far as this course is concerned, community version itself is much powerful. So we will be using the free community version. Okay, VS Code is free, and Jupyter Lab is also free. Now, integrated development environments are what? They are software applications that provide comprehensive facilities to computer programmers for software development. What IDE includes? It includes source code editor, build automation tools, and debugger. Two of the most popular IDEs in the field of Python programming are PyCharm and Visual Studio Code, VS Code. I'm not talking about AI-based IDEs like latest Cursor AI and many others, because as I said during introduction, first you have to be familiar with classical machine learning, and AI-based code assistance we will add later on in other courses, more advanced courses. And even with PyCharm and Visual Studio Code also, there are plugins, free plugins, which provide AI-based code assistance. So there is no need to look anything beyond these three at present. Okay, and we will be mainly using PyCharm and Jupyter Lab. Initial part I will be using Jupyter Lab, and then later I may be using PyCharm for some case, or I will maybe use Jupyter Lab only for my entire course, because Jupyter Lab is completely free and completely open source. PyCharm has that advantage that it is specially designed for only Python program. While this VS Code is a great tool, but it is for programming a general purpose tool. It can also help in R programming. It can help in maybe other programming language also. But this PyCharm is exclusively for Python. So we will try to do everything by Jupyter Lab, and maybe in some case when something more features are required, we will use PyCharm community version. Okay, what is PyCharm? So let me open, because I have all three installed on my Ubuntu. So this is what is PyCharm. It looks like this. As you see, PyCharm community version is there, and here one particular app is there, Smart Agriculture app and all that. So you can see that the app is divided into several folders. Okay, so these are some folders, and in each folder some files are placed. So all HTML files are maybe placed here, then all Python files are placed there differently. There are some txt files also, and so on. So this type of arrangement, in which your code is divided into several directories or folders, this type of arrangement is called modular programming. And you will see that it is required to build modular code later on. But that will be required much afterwards. For the teaching purpose, Jupyter Lab is the best, because it is, you can print the input, you can type the input and execute the command, and you will immediately be able to see the output in just below it. And debugging is very easy for learners. Okay. Now let me show you what is the VS Code. So here I am opening my VS Code, and this is the VS Code provided by Microsoft. So here I can open file, open folder, I can clone a Git repository, and so on. Here same some Flask app or same Smart Agriculture maybe. Okay, since it was opened in other, so let me open some folder which is already present. So file, open, then it is as such in my PyCharm project. While here I am opening a project using VS Code, but it will open, and you can see that now it asks certain questions that I trusted the authors. I know that it is my code only, so I'm trusting myself. And again, a modular code is here seen. Some Python files are there, some template HTML files are there in a separate directory, and so on. So this is how the VS Code looks. Okay. And finally, I'm showing you the Jupyter Lab. Okay. So for Jupyter Lab, for Jupyter Lab, I am opening my terminal, Control Alt T, and I am running command Jupyter space lab, and Jupyter Lab will open like this. I just want to show you how it appears. Okay, so it will appear somewhat like this. You will see only one this kernel, Python 3 IPY kernel. This is all I have added because it is a good practice to create a separate kernel for each project so that packages do not mix with each other. But we will learn how to do all this when we learn about virtual environment. Okay, so you will see only this, and you will probably, if it is a fresh installation, then not see so many files and folders. Then here I can click on this file, then new and notebook, and I can choose any kernel at present, and I can execute the command like maybe a equals 5, b equals 9, and print a plus b. I can click that run, and what is the issue? Incomplete input. There should not be anything incomplete in this. Okay, I think I added one extra parenthesis. Yes, so this is what you can see is how Jupyter Lab will run. It is just like Jupyter Notebook, and for teaching purpose it is very good because one small piece of code is output, then next small piece of code is output, and then next small piece of code is output. That's how it will show you. So slowly we will start with very basic coding sentences, and then we will go on making things more and more and more complicated. Finally, you will see that our whole cell will become this large. So that means one cell will contain this much code, and we will execute that, and so on. But once you reach that stage, such then the cell by cell execution will not much be required. So then you can switch to this Visual Studio Code, or for such modular coding, okay, or maybe PyCharm for modular coding. Even Jupyter Notebook also can help with Jupyter Lab, sorry, can also help with modular coding. So we may continue everything in Jupyter Lab because I want that students should not be confused with multiple tools. And second thing is that rather than learning multiple tools, it is better to master one tool. And third thing is that it is better to use open source, free and browser-based tools, which are you can use Jupyter Lab on Mac, you can use Jupyter Lab on Windows, you can use Jupyter Lab on Linux also. So that is one big advantage. That's one. Okay. So there is no need of installing all three IDEs. You can install any one, but at least it was my duty to show these ones. Okay. Now, both PyCharm and VS Code offer extensive plugin ecosystems. So, in fact, thousands of our plugins are available. I advise not to install multiple plugins. Okay, or first search on the web that what are the top 10 plugins for VS Code and what are top 10 plugins for PyCharm Community Edition, and only install that much. In fact, don't install anything. That is my advice. Only unless it will be required. Whenever it will be required, you will automatically be forced to install a plugin. So then it is okay. But these plugin help in code navigation, error fixing, and project navigation, etc. So they actually help in uh, making the whole process of coding ergonomic. Jupyter Lab is interactive environment which extends Jupyter Notebook. Jupyter Notebook cannot help in modular coding, but Jupyter Lab can help in that cell by cell execution also, where you can immediately see the output as I just now showed, and it can also help in modular code also, just like PyCharm or VS Code. So it is a flexible and integrated environment, and you can install Jupyter Lab without installing Anaconda. Again, this is something which I want to highlight, because normally whether you are using Windows or Ubuntu, the normal tendency is to install Anaconda. But Anaconda is a great tool, there is no doubt about it. But it is a multifaceted tool. It installs, it can install Jupyter Lab, Jupyter Notebook, VS Code, PyCharm. It can install R Studio for R programming. It can install Spider. It can install other several IDEs. And total size of the installation of Anaconda becomes more than 2 GB. And when any single IDE fails, then you will have to uninstall Anaconda and reinstall it, and it will create a lot of issues. So I will strictly insist that you install Jupyter Lab separately, as we have seen in previous chapters. Okay, in previous chapter we saw it about Jupyter Notebook, but for Jupyter Lab also the process remains the same. So we are going to see how to install PyCharm, VS Code, and then Jupyter Lab also. Here it is about Jupyter Lab also on various operating systems in our next lecture. Okay, thank you.